It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's the podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and piercers talk about some of the more common questions that those that collect tattoos and piercings may have. Brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo, the Axiom Body Piercing Studio, and what we're going to talk about today is tattoo failures. What should I do now?
Dum, dum, dum.
But I should probably introduce who's on this. To my right and your left is Jimmy St. John.
What's up, guys?
Directly to my right, your left, is Jack Lowe of
Captain,
Skin
my
Kitchen
captain.
Tattoo. Captain, my captain.
I like that.
That's nice.
It's his pirate.
And me, DaVo, from the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. And to my left and your right is Brent Starr with 2
Hi,
R's.
guys. How you doing? 2 R's.
2 R's.
He hasn't made it to X-rated yet.
So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some tattoo
Mess up.
failures, and I will try, or one of us will try to describe exactly what's going on. For those that are listening instead of watching, what exactly is going on, and then we're going to go through what we would suggest doing to possibly fix the said problem.
Yeah, a lot of these probably going to have a lot of different, directions you could go. And I guess it's just kind of a way maybe to show people what could be possible if they are in a situation similar to maybe one you'll see, and maybe get your brain working maybe kind of in the right direction. Like, some of these might be real easy to fix up. Some of these you might just be better off getting them covered completely and stuff. So I think maybe, you seeing these.
I think it'll be good for people to
Might
get
give you
an idea of what's possible.
What you
There's
can
always,
do.
there's the big black square.
Yeah,
How do you-
I
And
like.
then
I'm a
there's
fan of
everything
that.
else.
Yeah, I like the bowling ball. That's my
The bowling ball.
yeah.
Mario bombs.
Sometimes you need that square though. You need
Yeah.
you need that
Or the
extra real
A-bombs,
estate.
the A-bomb cloud. That's a good one, too.
Oh,
yeah.
not really.
There's always a belt sander.
Those aren't black.
Yeah, the belt
Davo.
sander works great.
An
It's
A-bomb
just hard to
cloud
keep it even.
is not black.
Or, you could go with the, just lightning bolts, but really, really big.
Solid.
Again, not black.
Or tribal. The tribal.
All right. Davo's not.
I'm not a tattoo
helping.
artist, so yeah, that's part of it.
All right. Well, should we just frickin' start?
Let's see the
Yeah,
first
let's do it.
one
Let's
in
start.
tonight's. Oh my God, what is
Yeah, this is.
that's
Yeah.
a Joker, but it looks like it was done by
Joke's
a
on you.
2-year-old.
Yeah, obviously what they did, they cut it off, photoshopped it on like the Joker just to show you maybe how.
Bad it is.
Oh, I
Off.
thought that was a
Oh, I don't
portrait
even
on
know.
the right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
how-
I know it almost.
Oh,
You can
man.
you almost can barely tell, but no.
Something went wrong.
Yeah, it
Definitely
looks like,
wrong.
Looks like it's on the. I'm guessing back of the forearm, right under the elbow.
Mhm, right below the ditch, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's the inner arm?
I think it's right.
So do you think
okay.
this was my 3-year-old?
light stand.
Because you guys have had this, which is a special tattoo when your child does a crayon drawing and then you come in and have that train. Do you think that's the situation here, or do you think that really is somebody went, oh yeah, that's a good idea?
I think somebody bought a machine offline and said, "Oh, I can draw, so I can probably tattoo. Watch this."
There's a more than likely chance that that's the scenario.
Man.
Maybe a kitchen magician.
Okay.
So are you not able to get my iPad up there then?
Okay. So Jack's
Oh.
gonna draw on his iPad, and we're gonna
commentate.
see how that would be fixable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I disagree with Jimmy. This is on the back side of a forearm. You can
Okay.
tell by the elbow in the upper left here, right here,
Okay.
and his fingers here being his left hand, kind of
See
pulling his shirt out of the way as he rotates his arm this way to expose the backside. And you can see this he has on the front side of his forearm.
So how much you want to
Correct,
bet?
sir. I was incorrect.
Forensic, forensics.
You're
It's what
good.
it's all
So
about.
how much you want to bet the front of the T-shirt says "No Fear"?
Nah,
Bad
this
boys.
guy is not a no fear guy. This is a comic book guy. This is,
Okay, so he has a Punisher T-shirt.
Maybe.
I'm saying
yeah, but it's not going to be
Green Lantern.
an ICP shirt.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, possibly,
That's a whole
possibly.
different
Juggalo.
level.
It looks like this could have been done at a Juggalo gathering.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But
Magician.
man, if
Or
I saw
everybody's
this,
tattooer.
I'd probably go kind of just cartoony with it. I think they were maybe trying to go for more of a portrait. But at this point, I'd probably just kind of over exaggerate everything.
Okay.
And so you have some like heavy lines in there, almost comic booky style.
Yeah.
You know, so you have an excuse to kind of put some heavier lines in there, and then that's gonna give you an excuse to kind of cover that up. And then same thing with this, you can kind of hard line it a little bit to kind of make it look a little bit almost kind of two-dimensional in a way.
Yeah.
Cool.
And just kind of go with that kind of shape of it. Because the good thing is there's not a whole lot of black other than the eyes.
Yeah.
And good thing is they're not super black.
Oh.
You know, they're really spotty.
Would you
That's a
try
cool
to do
take.
the you know what I'm talking about with the comic books, how they have that kind of pixelated look to them?
Yeah, doing some sort of texture like that might be beneficial.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just go kind of heavy with it and make it more of kind of an illustrated looking design. Probably I'd bring more hair down here to kind of work on that jaw, but you're not super sunk with that.
That's
but
an
it's
awesome
just
take.
it's just not gonna come out, you
I
know.
tried to cover it up completely.
Yeah, and that's an option.
That's just neat because I never thought of that angle, and I think
Bowling
that's
ball.
amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, like a huge skull with flowers or something,
Yeah,
and some
sure.
depth, and or some crazy background,
Yeah.
but it would have been a massive tattoo.
Yeah.
but-
This would be if someone was like, "No, I love the tattoo. I'd like to
Yeah.
keep it, but I just don't want it to look like crap anymore."
Yeah, that's
So-
an amazing angle. That blows me away.
Yeah, it definitely could be saved, and
That's
you know,
super cool.
but it's just I mean, if you wanted to put the work into it, I guess there is people out there that could probably make this into a damn near photorealistic color thing, but
That's a little bit past me.
you know, everybody's going to have their own spin and kind
Yeah.
of go to what they know they can nail.
Yeah.
And get the job done. So yeah, but that would be one way I think of going about it and still selling it. But
Wow.
I
yeah.
really love your take on it.
yeah, what you would have just smashed
I
it
would have tried
over?
to do a big cover up, and pull your eye away from the spot because it wouldn't have been hard to cover up because the eyes aren't that black, and that's the worst part to cover.
Mm-hmm.
I could cover that with like foliage and butterflies and skulls
Yeah.
and flowers or all kinds of different stuff, koi fish, dragons. I could have covered it with a lot of stuff and
Right.
pulled him into maybe a half sleeve or more.
I guess I'm looking at it more. I guess I'm looking at it first more of a repair if we can.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's Sarah but you're dating Amanda, then that's
Right.
one thing. But if he's still into the Joker,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, man, I think that's
Try
great.
to save it. But
And
Thankful
maybe
to have another outlook on it.
yeah,
and maybe we should explain this to people. It's like a lot of times with cover-ups, if there's nothing in there that we can work with, or you guys can work with, because I don't tattoo. Generally, we try. The idea is to get bigger and distract.
Yeah, you want to pull the eye away. So, you couldn't cover this with a portrait of grandma, realistically, because there's just so much skin showing through on a black and gray portrait.
Unless grandma was a real looker. I mean,
Some
grandmas
if the
can
picture-
really fill that void.
If the picture was taken in the dark
And she kind of looked like Divine.
with no flash, then yeah, you could probably cover it with grandma. But
Real heavy and lipstick ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what about him?
Like throw mama from the train kind of period.
Oh my God.
But yeah, yeah, and every cover up is different. But
Right.
I think it's fun to kind of repair them if you can. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I hit the wrong button. I wanted to
pusher.
kind of fade this. What helps is kind of fading that out a bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
could
it's
build
definitely
something.
more of a comic book look and feel now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would
That's
probably
incredible.
and it would
vastly
save.
improve it.
It would save pretty easily, I guess, is what I'm getting at, because it's not just smashed with a whole bunch of black and everything else.
Yeah.
Black, that's going to be the hardest thing to cover. A lot of people don't realize that the colors aren't like super opaque. You know, you can see through them, even black.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are doing blackout sleeves and stuff now.
Yep.
And if they have tattoos before and they think that they're just going to completely go away, it's not true.
No.
It's like if you paint something on the wall, you know, and then you paint the wall black.
Right.
You're gonna, if you look at it in the right angle,
You're gonna see it.
through there because that the color underneath the paint is reflecting back through the paint.
Right.
And and it's going to be different wherever there was, you know, difference.
So using the painting analogy,
Mm-hmm.
is there a primer that you can do for tattooing? Because there really isn't, is there?
Not really.
There are some people that will, you know, saturate white, you know, or something over.
I've heard skin tones.
And
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it in certain instances, you know, it will work and can work. But it, like I said, every cover up's a little different, and every customer has a little bit different idea of what they think is tolerable.
Right.
So you really got to kind of take it, you know, case by case on that. So.
Yeah.
You know, not every client's going to tolerate kind of the same thing. Some are
Exactly.
super cool and just let you go, and some, you know, ride your back the whole way in. So, anyway,
Okay, so let's go
Yeah.
on to the next one.
what
What do we got?
Oh my God. What is
What do you?
that?
Oh,
I
that's,
think
Oh,
that was
Lion
supposed to
King.
be Lion King.
So this is a
That
Lion
is
King, but
3-year-old
the
group.
face looks like I don't know what you would describe that as.
oh boy.
Oh, it's
Kinda
not the
mopey.
animated
It's-
version. It's,
it's-
the latest one. You
It's
know, that
kind
one.
of
Yeah.
it's kind
The
of
real life one.
abstract,
It's very realistic.
but it's
thinking
not
Picasso.
abstract and there's no shifting of the eyes like there would be of, you know, real
Dave-o,
Picasso. I don't know how to describe this.
we are
It's bad.
I think
We
it's
are
missing a thought
so-
balloon.
we are so far beyond just the eyes being a little weird.
Well, yeah, I know.
Like-
There's supposed to be a 3-dimension to it, and that's
Well, you totaled the
failed.
car, but that
No,
wheel is
like we
really
don't even
messed
have
up.
we don't even have a solid line. To
No,
begin.
there really isn't. It's kind of
Yeah, it is pretty
And then
massacred.
what's that thing that arches at the bottom? What exactly is that supposed to be?
That's maybe a tail.
It's a stick.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like a stick. Is that a mountain?
Oh God.
Mountain and
Oh,
flowers.
it might be it kind of looks like a tail.
Yeah,
It was a
From,
cover up.
from what I'm seeing on my iPad, but you know, it could be.
it's scary. It's very scary.
Shoot it over to my
Can you
iPad
make
and I
it-
can zoom in on it a little
Can you
bit.
make it big again?
Yeah.
Well, I will.
Oh wow.
Well, that's not me, but
Yeah, that's the wifey.
And then the child.
well,
Yeah.
it's not working.
Wow. What's not working?
Well, it's not moving when I'm moving it unless I can do this. Oh, okay. It's just
There
not
we
gonna-
go.
Just not going to let me zoom in. It's just going to hold it still, which is kind of
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, not completely sunk because it's not super dark. You know.
Yeah, but
You could rebuild it pretty easy, I think.
What would you call that color?
did you rebuild that?
Well, it's that color because it's brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
irritating.
skin agitation.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
gonna fade down a lot more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which will make it better to work.
Which is
with.
good, and then I would just have the person really not take care of it because it's
Yeah.
not really overworked
God,
anywhere.
no.
So you're not going to get any scarring, if you know, very little, if any, at all,
Right.
if you just don't take care of it.
That is
And-
Hopefully most of it'll fall
such a
out.
huge piece.
yeah, well, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it easier.
Yeah.
You know, you got a lot more room to fuck with, but you
So
know.
would you cover it or save it?
Oh, I'd save the shit out of it. You know, it's all there. You know, you just have to get the original picture that it was coming from, and you know, just work out nudge it where it needs to
wow.
go. You know,
Yeah.
you can really kind of push things around pretty easy with shadows and things like that. So,
It's really cool.
and there's gonna be you know, an original that they were going off
Oh yeah, I'm
of,
sure it's flat out a still
So,
out
you
of
know,
the movie.
which, you know, that'll help a bunch.
I was thinking, how do you feel about Great Big Grim Reaper?
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
like
What do
the
they?
Thundercats?
You were talking about like what they
Snarf.
call that from where you're from. What is it called?
Hoodie Ghost. that
Hoodie
was-
Ghost.
that
Hoodie
was
Ghost.
Jack.
yeah.
A hoodie ghost. Yeah.
The Grim
Green
Reaper.
Creepers. We had green creepers.
So what would be sitting on his shoulder? Because usually that's where the sickle would be.
Snarf from Thundercats.
Yeah.
The backside of it would be like the cloak, and then
Okay.
his skull and more light spots would be coming out over here, and then you could pull the sickle up behind him, but across the top of that shoulder line.
I almost think Thundercats.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Thundercats.
Lion-O.
Jack is repairing Lion King.
Yeah, we're trying to
There we go.
make this guy look a little less real.
And while he was doing that, I was asking Brent what he would have done.
Yeah. And what was your option?
My idea on this would probably be, I would say, do you like Thundercats? Because, that's going to be a really cool
I'm sorry to
Lion-O.
put that in people's heads.
I mean, that was actually my
Why'd you
initial
change
idea. So I was thinking like Snarf.
Yeah, Snarf?
Snarf?
But how would you
And,
work that in there?
I have no idea. No, that was just my initial take, my initial impression. But I like where Jack's going with this because he's trying to salvage, obviously the person liked The Lion King enough to
Get it back.
dedicated
That's
all
a
the way
huge
across
space
the
to
back.
dedicate to that large of a tattoo.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great story and
Yeah.
everything, and obviously they must have felt something about it to
Yeah.
have it that large.
So you would try to save it
So
also then?
yeah, I
That's
would.
cool.
I mean, if it is savable by looking at the stills from the movie or the animation and seeing
Series.
if, like how deviated the tattoo could be from that. And working from there,
Yeah.
Jack's just a madman genius, and he just kind of like, oh well, I'm
This
just
is
going
why
to go
he's
ahead and
captain.
He doesn't need to know that.
No, he doesn't even
Whatever,
have
dude.
to look at. He doesn't even have to look at the stills.
Wow.
Like he's just already like a Disney animator right now, just like.
That's why he leads us, and we
And that's
go.
a
right.
huge
This is what we do
difference.
after work. If you guys are curious, we spend hours and hours hanging out and watching and talking and drawing stuff and trying to learn.
So my question to you, Jack, is: does it affect, because you have to work over something that's already been there? Does it affect his expressions?
Yeah, well, and that can be the hardest part. But the cool
Yeah.
thing with this is it's cartoon.
Yeah.
So you can go really heavy on the lines if you needed to. But even with this, you don't really need to, because you can go in with some dark magenta-y kind of purples for shadows, and with as light as that's going to heal and as sparsely as it's shaded and everything, that's going to be small potatoes, because this thing's huge, man.
Yeah, it's a
So-
big canvas.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to have to be a pretty big thing to throw you off for you not to be able to fix it. 'Cause there's just, I mean, if this was as big as a beer coaster, oh man, the
Yeah.
eyes, you've got so much room to nudge things around that, I don't think it would really matter.
That is a good that is a good point. The scale in which it's on the canvas it's on does give quite a bit more leeway than like if it were on a forearm or
right, whoever did it
Yeah.
was smart enough to stop and leave it light enough. Not to, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
right. Yeah, and that's kind of the truth too.
But once they, like, if you have the people that just like, oh, I can figure it out and just keep digging and digging, and you got these
Jesus.
huge black spots and
Oh.
off, like,
Here, let me fix
it
that.
can get hard. Yeah.
Here, let me fix that.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, now we got to even this up. And,
it's kind of
Wow,
like
look at
it's
that.
kind of like a 5-year-old trying to get around his life.
That's amazing.
Do you
guys.
like bowling balls?
Not yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah, not too hard on this one, really.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's because it's all kind of there, and it's not beat to death, so there's still some meat left on the bone, as I'd like
Right.
to say, to give you some. Yeah.
Because then you would color in with like yellows.
Oh yeah,
oranges
yeah,
and kind
and
of
there's
spread it out a little bit and some
Yep.
shadowing.
yeah. It'd have to. Well, and really, it wouldn't have to be even color. I think you could save this pretty easy with black and gray.
Yeah.
You might use some opaques or whites, but man, you wouldn't need to. It's so sparse. But I think that one being
Well, I
that
think you
size
slayed
be
it.
pretty easy.
Yep.
So let's see the
What we
next
got next?
disaster. Oh Lord.
That's easy to cover up.
Yeah, I
you
can
could
see
even
that
save
reworking.
Yeah, you could rework that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the portions seem correct. It's just not executed well.
Yeah, and the photo quality is pretty rough, but the outline's pretty irregular.
Totally fixable though. Like,
But
that's a breeze.
yeah, that's just like working off a poor stencil almost.
Yeah, it's like a coloring book. You could give me 500.
Oh
outlines.
Lord, what is this?
You could make it better if you want to
She's
keep this
skipping.
bright.
She's skipping ahead.
That's okay. That last one, you just finish it.
Yeah,
Is
what
that
is-
Sprite?
What
Is
does
that
the
that's
bottom
supposed to be?
say?
Obey my pussy.
Obey my
Oh,
pussy.
nice.
Why
we got
cover
another
that
WAP.
up? That's
Can you
brilliant.
just, I'd put WAP right above it.
WAP. There we go.
WAP.
Don't
Yeah, remember the meltdown
Let's
video?
not go there.
Or, you know,
So
made your
this
glasses
one's
steam.
one's pretty easy too.
Yeah, would
what?
you fix it? But what if, like, is the do they
No,
want to keep
no,
it
I
or do they
wouldn't.
wanna cover
No, this one I immediately went to.
up?
Definitely, you're covering that.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear
I
your
mean,
take.
If you want a job,
There's going to be
It
so
wouldn't-
that you're ever going to show your waist.
well, it wouldn't be as funny if it was done really good.
no.
right.
No.
True.
You know, that tattoo needs to be done that terrible.
Sprite is going to
That,
send through
I
their
don't know if
endorsement
I could,
package
It
that they
seems
have
like
with that
there's a
young lady.
failed navel piercing there too.
Ooh.
Oh, good eye, good
Oh,
eye.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple at one time. But yeah, this one's pretty easy if she likes flowers and water.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Which
that's
I don't
easy.
care who you are, you like flowers.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they're beautiful.
kind of whatever flower. I like to use something that's pretty petal heavy.
Yeah.
So it gives you a lot of nooks and crannies and stuff to
Mm-hmm.
kind of hide stuff in.
I should probably explain for those that are not watching but listening. What it is a Sprite can pouring out liquid, and then there's like
It's
this
got
really
script on it.
poorly executed bubbles and etc. And then obey my. Is that my or ma?
My.
My genitalia.
Either or.
You call your kitty cats this.
The kitty cat, whatever, your vagina. But it's yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's terrible.
So retooling these ways
Wow.
wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You can
And-
use those.
And then I would probably do a little more floral here.
Mm-hmm.
And you could always use what I think is kind of a fun, neat, good strategy when you're doing something like this is if something's kind of hanging out, you can always just like drop a petal.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of floating around.
Yep.
And
So what type of flower would you? Orchid, right?
Oh, that's
uh,
a
lotus.
It's kind
Or
of a
lotus?
hybrid.
So
you
he's
know?
turning the can into a lotus,
I-
and then kind of progressing from there, right?
Yeah, I don't really draw a specific flower a lot of times. I'll kind of base it on maybe a flower, I guess. But
Yeah.
I just kind of draw a flower that needs.
Well,
What is
plus
start
no,
looking
no,
petals in.
no two flowers are alike.
Yeah, and these are kind of lotusy looking.
Yeah.
And it's in water, so it'd be a lotus or.
Yeah, it'd be a water flower.
What a flower.
I think I've accidentally invented some flowers before doing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of
no,
like what somebody would ask, like, what kind of flower is that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, first of
It's
all,
pretty.
they're not even asking what planet it's from,
No.
right? I mean, it could be a flower from a planet you've never heard of. It's the
Oh,
Uka
yeah,
Bluka
yeah.
flower.
Yeah.
You know, who's to say it doesn't exist? That's not the point.
Right.
It's art.
yeah.
Like
It-
all
does
those.
Does it look
Yeah.
beautiful? Oh yeah. Well then,
That's what
then
we're
you
going
got
for.
it. That's all you need to
That
know.
was what I was going
Yeah.
to say.
Exactly.
Right. So, but yeah, that wouldn't be so hard. But yeah, I'd go with like, obviously blues and purples a lot for the flowers, and using heavy contrast. So it gives you an excuse to really get some good saturation, like
Yeah.
on lower leaves and stuff.
Super
And-
dark greens and stuff in those.
Yeah,
leaves
and to
far
pull that
away.
off, a way to do that is, try to focus those lower shadow leaves on the hard, heavy cover-uppy stuff, and then make sure you leave yourself, some that are outside of there on the other side or whatever it happens to be,
Pick the light up.
to grab that light and to balance it right out so it doesn't look like a cover-up. Give you
Yeah, and
And
plus
your bottom
that,
ones that are in the light spot are your closest, so it works out where it looks right.
yeah.
plus
Yes,
that,
That's awesome.
when I was describing this, I should state that it was like it's all on the stomach. It goes straight
Yeah.
across the stomach.
Below the belly
So
button.
so having that would in the flow of it would almost make it seem like it was intentional from the beginning.
Exactly.
It's not going to look like, oh, you had something really, really not great there, and now you've done this.
Yeah.
You know, it would be really impressive if you covered that up with a 7-Up can and made it look really good.
Now you
that-
sound like a customer.
Yeah.
and that would be like Jack's take on the first two.
So do you think
fixer-uppers,
this-
saving it
That's
because
awesome.
I love Sprite and
And
Well-
it flows
Yeah.
Great with the body.
Obey my. She's a top.
And this is cool too, actually, because you have a
controlling
lot
body.
of negative space in here to utilize for the waves to make
Yeah.
keep them
Yeah.
light and frothy and
Yeah.
pull them up.
So it doesn't
and
get
then
so heavy.
and you can use a back shadow behind here, and that's only going to pop your waves up even more.
Yeah.
So if you're what's the word I'm looking for? If you plan right and leave yourself some outs like that, you can really utilize the skin that's left and make it really look like there isn't a cover up under
Right.
there. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just those little strategies.
A lot of people can cover up, but a really, really good cover up is a cover up that you can't tell is a cover up.
That looks like
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
an
That's the
original
goal.
tattoo. That was
Right.
the whole thing from the beginning.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You don't just want to make it look better. You want to make it look like a
Right.
great tattoo, even though it's a cover up. Yeah.
Right.
So, I think that one.
We want to
think you
get
killed it.
you want to get to the point where you can go to the beach and not feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And don't
having
everybody
a
take
spray
for granted
can
that we
pouring
all
out whatever the
draw
hell
on
that
a spot
was.
that good, like Mr. Jack here.
Yes.
Some of us have to
No.
go to our room and look and draw and erase for a while.
Yes. So what's the next one here on the
This one's for Jack.
the failure?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think this one is bad. Actually, I think she's a little prettier in the tattoo than she is in real life. What?
Yeah,
Oh,
I won't go into that.
Just laughing, but don't.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Wow, that
FYI,
camera
Jack
is
is the-
old.
I'm not saying she's not an attractive girl. I'm saying in that
Yeah,
picture, the
right.
face she's making and
Yeah, I
it
get
being a little snappy selfie.
Yeah.
It's not obviously a photorealistic portrait,
Right.
but that's really kind of a smart idea to do it a little more illustrated style so it holds up better because there's, the eyes and everything's are pretty tight in there. So you don't have a whole lot of room to do a whole lot of grades and everything else. So he was kind of in a rock and a hard place. I think
Tough spot.
I
as
think
we like
what
to
would
call it.
what would have helped is to soften up the shadowing just a bit. It's
Yeah.
a little bit mapped out. I'm not having any luck finding.
Well, so the thing about this is
I don't even think I pulled it in because
and so everybody that's listening that doesn't know, it's a portrait of a girl doing a selfie. So, and it's a really old, like
Like a SD
mid,
Canon.
mid 2000s cyber shot kind of camera.
yeah, it's just a little.
And they also included that in the portrait. So I'm guessing the client asked for that.
yeah, I guess so.
And well, it seems like they squeezed it, they compressed it a little bit to make.
Well,
it
it's
fit.
placement on the arm with the bend of the right there where the shoulder is and stuff.
It just made the camera a little closer.
It would have looked really odd if you just had her with that face.
Mhm.
Kind of
Yeah.
just that. It would have looked like she might have had like some kind of a.
Well, she's
accident
making the
or
duck
something.
face, the
The duck.
iconic duck
Tempting.
face. But as far as the portrait, though, is concerned, it's super savable, other than the fact he pounded in this black back in here.
Yeah.
That screws up kind of a little bit the light sourcing because there's a black. This is the dark side here. And then there's light here. So he flipped it here. So this is the dark side here going to here. So you want, and he did okay right here, but he did both. He should have either took this all the way to here. So it followed her jawline and popped her jaw, and then there's hair here too.
Yeah.
But and I was going to get to the nose, but now I can't help myself. he dropped the ball right here on the nose. So if you look, at her right here, that's almost like the darkest area of the tattoo. But what he did is he left this little spot right here.
Yeah.
There's not a little spot right there. So that just lifts up a big old bump right on the side of her nose.
And
So now her nose is like that.
And the thing that people don't realize is that the forehead of the human face is a lot larger than we think it is.
Yeah, your
And
eyes
if
are
you
kind of halfway
if you
down.
mess up the scope of it, it makes people look really weird.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
a 5 head. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
a 3 head.
Well,
but it averages up.
It also works if you ever think somebody's attractive and they want nothing to do with you, is just look at their forehead and how big it is. You'll never find it attractive again.
That's how DaVo gets through life.
Yes.
But anyway, this is very, very savable. He just didn't really commit, and he overworked a lot of stuff, so it got fuzzy, especially, in the eyes, which that's what you got to nail. And he kind of dropped the ball, and on top of him dropping the ball on that, he left that big old bump on her nose in the portrait, and it really screwed everything up. So other than going way too dark in a certain places where he shouldn't, like here, her top lip is just hammered on. So he went too dark on the lip, but then he went too dark here, not dark enough here. So he's got a few things fighting against himself that if you just went in and tightened up little things, having the original photograph right there is very helpful. But he just needs to stay a little bit truer to the tones, because once you get, this tone to a certain degree, well, to balance it out, then this tone has to be that much of a degree darker than this was supposed to be, and then you end up chasing your tail. And when you get into tight little spots like this, you have to leave something lighter than it would be otherwise, because you've kind of got everything too dark, and then it goes to kaplooey. What he should have said is get a better picture, focus on the face, and get it as big as you are comfortable with.
Okay,
because
so
I was
what
gonna.
if this is a breakup too? Like, what if that's like
Right.
He's trying to fix the
How do you feel
relationship.
about
by
skulls
getting
in graveyards?
and he goes home and she's like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Oh, that could be it too.
So, how much do you think this is lens distortion from the standpoint of when you take a photo that close to get you in frame? That isn't a normal photo length. It's going to blow your face out wider than it actually is.
Yeah,
I deal with those
maybe.
piercings. They'll be like, "Oh, that's not perfectly centered." Yeah, you're taking it with your cell phone. Do you realize how small that lens really is?
Well,
and how it's fisheyeing.
The smaller the face is, the more the tiniest detail messes things up.
Exactly.
You have way less room for error. So every little touch of the needle when you're doing the eye and everything else matters.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a clean, nice picture to go off of in the beginning, and you're not keeping track of your lights and your darks, you're kind of destined to fail. But the way he did it was good for what he had to work with. He just needs to go in there, I think, and commit a little bit more
It's
around
more
his
of the
eyes.
execution.
Get that bump off of her nose, especially because there's a darker shadow that goes right down along that nose. There's the shape here, and here, and there. But
Well, see, noses are always
So-
a very difficult thing to draw.
Noses and mouths and eyes. If you
Those
don't nail
little
those,
nuances.
it's over.
Those
Yeah.
little tiny nuances make or break.
And
totally.
And maybe you guys should kind of explain. You were talking a little bit about light sources, how that affects how a portrait is done.
Well, yeah. I like to have people bring me multiple pictures, and usually the little snapshot ones, that the non-professional ones, are way better because nobody pays attention to lighting. So they're always really high contrast. The light's usually like over here, and there's like one light, and it's gives a
Realistic.
lot of contrast. So that works great for tattoos.
Yeah.
So I like to have people bring me a lot of pictures because a lot of times they want that professional portrait where this person's all polished up and never looks like that anyway. And then they go in and remove every single little thing off their face digitally and make them look like plastic and push out all the, the highs and lows and just make it this creamy looking, white ball with 2 black dots on it. And that's a really boring, boring portrait.
It's everybody's family portrait.
Yeah. So, but thankfully now it's a little easier because we can take it into our iPads and stuff and manipulate that and pull some more value out and make it a little more legible. But back in the day, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
it mattered.
old photographs. Yeah.
They're
very
horrible.
Yeah, and you're working off of an actual photo, and then you're working off a copier that was made in 1987. So
And you made your stencil out of something they stopped making in 70 something.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
anything paper ages.
And you've done the whole
poorly,
stencil
usually.
Yeah.
You've done the whole stencil over a light box.
Yeah, and I was going to
Should
say,
hold it in
you're
my hand.
you're dragging a piece of wood with a thing that tends to make a mark when you scrape it on something, to get these tiny little nuances. And then you're going to transfer that through an archaic heat machine that transfers it onto this purple crap. then you're gonna take this soapy stuff and make
That
the skin kind of
smears.
sticky, and then transfer that purple stuff onto a pot-ridden surface that you hope most of it sticks on.
And don't
you
forget
know.
that you walked uphill in
Well,
the snow
right.
there, and
all those
then
little
and you're going to
nuances.
have to do it back
Yeah.
home again.
All the nuances you drew in are smearing and smudged out or fatter than it was because it's been transferred to skin.
Yeah, it just just following the wrong side of the line twice, it can skew things really bad. So
the
the
whole
less
picture.
less times you have to copy it to get it to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of that, portraits, and regardless of what they are, they should be an interpretation of the person.
Yeah.
It should represent their, when they're done best, it represents their soul and what they mean to the person that's wearing them
Sure.
or owns them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird nuance.
Well, that's why they're easy to mess up because it's a big head game.
Yes,
It's
Absolutely.
It's easy to.
Especially
Go-
if they're still alive.
Oh God, yeah. That
I
is-
don't look like that.
I've had the person I'm doing the portrait of in the room while I'm doing it. Not only that, but this is probably the weirdest and craziest. And I wish I could remember their names. I'm kind of ashamed I don't. But it was a pair of twins, and identical twins, a pair of young girls, and they both wanted a portrait of both of them on each other.
Wow.
So it was a picture of them when they were younger together.
That sounds incredibly challenging.
And they both
To say the least.
they both wanted that on them.
And they're identical twins.
Well,
Yes.
not only do you got to do it once, you got to do it again.
So not only is the person I'm doing it on in the room,
Second one's going to look great.
the person I'm
Sorry.
Little pregame.
not only is the person I'm doing it on, in the photo in the room, the person I'm doing it on is in the photo.
Right.
Wow.
And then I have to do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah.
That's why I
Wow.
avoid threesomes, because I don't want to disappoint two
Dude, it's
people at
horrible.
once.
Well, like I'll do Jekyll and Hyde or Abraham Lincoln on you or whatever, but I'm not doing your mom or your dad or your kid like that.
And see, part of that is
'Cause it's in
because
my mind, like-
because it's been established what those people look like,
Yeah, but like I can do
what
a
that
portrait
character
of
looks like.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood 9 million different ways,
Yeah.
and it looks like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, because it's
But if you don't
established
make
what
Dad
they
look like Dad on that day at that moment,
Well,
you've
this
messed
is,
up.
and this is why I think. Well, one of the reasons I think that's easier is because while you're doing it, not only do you have that picture as a reference, but you know who the hell that is.
Yeah,
So you know them. You know that face.
exactly.
you know what that character
If
is.
it's
You
Uncle
know what that
Bob-
person is, or that personality, etc.
If it's Uncle Bob, the only reference I have to what they look
Is the
like
picture.
is that picture.
With the
so-
dog and the can and this and that.
Well,
and
just
else.
I have nothing else to go by.
Nope, that's it.
But that I don't know. So I know this person knows what that girl looks like, and that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't go to anybody else and go, that looks like Uncle Bob, doesn't it? And they're like, I don't know. It's not.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Never seen Uncle Bob.
If the customer says it doesn't, that's
Then
the
it
only
doesn't.
person that matters.
Yep.
But if it's Frankenstein, I can go to who was that? Well, it's Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
See, I mean, it's Frankenstein.
But which Frankenstein?
You know what I mean? It's
Is
like-
it the Boris
Exactly.
Karloff? Is it the
You ain't fooling
Robert
nobody.
De Niro? Is
No.
yeah.
When it's a private portrait like that. So
Yeah.
it does make it a little easier. Like doing an Elvis is,
Absolutely.
a little, but at the same time, man, I don't know.
That's why you said
I've
like
seen
you
some
like to have
terrible
multiple pictures of the subject, the client that
Yeah.
or the portrait rather. So that way you kind of get an idea of
Nope,
how
not at
you
all.
can capture.
Nope. I don't use that at all. I don't look at it as
I'm looking for the best photo to use for the tattoo.
the
Gotcha.
I guess I should rephrase what my last statement was. It's easier to do a more familiar image because it's familiar. Even if you screw up a Nike swoosh, it's still a Nike swoosh.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you screw up Aunt Jean, nobody knows who
You're
the
trying
hell.
to create a picture of Aunt Jean that they have of
Yeah.
Aunt Jean.
and they
that
picture
you've
them.
never met.
Yeah,
They
and-
picture
and a
that
lot of
individual
that's
person
very
probably different than I picture them. And in this picture, maybe their lip looks a little bit fatter than it really is, or they remember it. But in that photo, just the way it landed and just the way the air was puffing in their mouth at that particular point made their lip look a little weird. So when I see it, I go, oh, they had a pretty full lower lip.
Yeah.
So, maybe I go just a hair darker on that than I should have. And then by the end of the day, I get done. I've built everything else a little darker off that. So then I accentuated this thing on under his eye that looked like kind of a mole, but it wasn't. It was just a fuck up on the thing. Well, if that was Boris Karloff, I know whether or not he's got a fucking mole.
Yeah.
Right.
I know whether or not he's got a
Right.
full pouty big bottom lip.
Right.
I know.
You know that's
Yeah.
a scratch.
It's a lot
on the-
easier
on the
because
print.
there's
Yeah.
every tiny little wrinkle or shadow on something you've never ever seen. You don't know if it's supposed to be there
Or not.
or if it's normally there, if I should really make sure that's there because that's kind of them. That little crease that's right here, that's what they do when they always smile. I left it out because it looked maybe kind of weird, and now it doesn't look like them.
Yep.
But if that was
Gotcha.
somebody I do know, I know they're known for that dimple or they're that scar on their eye. or
Because when
thing.
you're getting a picture
There's
of a
just-
family member, like you're picturing them from so many different times in your life, Christmas morning, this time, all these times, and like, you know what I mean? A collective of that is that portrait, but
Yeah,
you've got to nail everything that
tricky.
they see and their memory captures in that photo. Like
Right.
that's why I don't mess with it. Like it's way over my head, but I'll do Clint Eastwood on you. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do a face. I just
And
Because-
I don't want to do those.
because in part what you're really capturing is her personality.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I encourage people to do not only the snapshots, but the snapshots that capture that personality. One of my favorite portraits I did was of this gentleman's little girl, and she's got her tongue out and she's pulling her ears. You know, she's pulling her own ears, like going, "Ah," just making this goofy face, and it was just in this pile of pictures he brought in of her, and I go, "Oh my God, that's perfect." He kind of looked at me weird, and I go, isn't that
That's
her?
the one.
And he kind of looked at it and he goes, "That's her." And I go, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do that one." And man, he loves
awesome.
it. I loved it. I mean, and that not only is a portrait neat, but I think it's even neater when it's something, you know, that captures their personality and isn't just your average ordinary headshot.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
not
those make
generic.
a lot more
It
fun.
sets it apart and makes it
More personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a photographer that tries to be a photographer, that's what I love is candid. I always hated anything like every picture I have from my childhood of anything is smile,
Yeah.
and it always looks like you just farted. It's not you. It's what
Right, it's just
your
what you
mom wanted at that moment.
It's your picture you.
But
Yep.
you know those candid little photos that are taken just kind of out of. They don't even know you're there.
It's
They're just
reality.
relaxed, and that's
Those are
who
the
they
best.
really are.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
some of the worst pictures to use are like the Marine picture when they get their
Okay.
formal picture and they're just like, I don't know what that look is. It's the Marine look.
It's I kill.
It is. I mean, they all have that same.
You just
like I
finished
will.
boot camp,
I'll rip
like,
your
the
fucking heart out.
toughest
I don't
thing you've
care.
ever had
It's
to do in your
fucking
life,
awesome. But yeah, it works. Whatever they do, it works. But anyway, they're usually just like no expression, very little shadow,
Not
very
a good
washed
portrait.
out. Just, and they don't even really look like them
Yeah.
anyway.
Which
So,
like the
but-
better version is the one with them, their buddies hanging
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
barracks or whatever,
Right.
or
Yeah.
next to the the fucking guns, whatever whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite photos of my father is Korea, and he's just kind of standing there next to his Hollister, just like, take my photo. That is like the
kind of
best
thing.
portrait of him
Yeah. Yeah.
from that period.
And they're way more fun to
Absolutely.
do, I think.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But
So let's move on to one more.
yeah, let's do one more. It's hot in here.
Oh my god!
you know
What's
what?
that?
I
Brent
wish
just
we
did a
Why
great
didn't
version
we-
of that.
Oh, where is it online?
Is that okay? So the hand thing is that a
Five
pos head?
It's-
or posh head?
A 5-finger death punch.
You have it.
Oh,
you have your phone?
okay.
I
Brent.
do not.
I was
don't.
told that I'm like the older version of the lead singer of this band. Just I want to comment a couple days ago, and I'm like, I'm prettier than he is, and I never wear a tank top.
Oh boy.
And yeah.
So it flies.
Yeah.
I don't know about Purdy. I have an issue.
Well,
with
it was with a D, not a T. The reason why I said Posh Head, do you guys know who that is? They did all the Misfit stuff.
Yeah,
Are you saying
he
Puss
did-
Head?
Puss
Puss
head.
Head.
You
yeah.
said Poss Head.
Did I say Posh Head?
You said
I'm
Poss
thinking of
Head.
Posh Boy.
Yeah, Puss
I'm
Head.
sorry. It's my
Potato,
punk rock
potato.
intertwined.
He did a lot of
Yeah.
stuff for Zorlak skateboard.
A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, and
Absolutely.
they just
Yeah, Metallica.
disappeared.
Yeah.
He had some Air
with
Force
the
Ones out for a
hand
while.
thing.
Wanted
I
to-
don't know. Did they totally rip that off?
Don't know. I saw
possibly.
an orc with a black handprint on his face on a Hobbit
Yeah.
movie, I
That
think.
was a white handprint, and that was.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's what it was.
And that
You're
was
a
in the
geek.
Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
geek.
You brought up the Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
I mean,
Walk, walk, walk.
Walk,
That's the
walk,
first
walk.
time I
Walk,
saw
walk,
it.
Second movie,
Drop.
walk, walk.
I was
Sometimes
so
run.
mad when that movie, the first one ended. I'm like, wait, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing
No, we're just going
happened
to start the journey.
So what would you do with that one, Jack?
with that movie.
No. With a tattoo. But yeah,
I'm
the
gonna
movie
look
as
at the
well.
original.
Is that going to be
Okay.
your tattoo of the week next week, Brent? No, the good one. You
Oh, the
you
good
he did
version.
he
I was
did a
like,
killer
he's
version
gonna
of it.
steal
It
this.
might be.
and
It might be.
yeah.
I did
Yeah.
one a tattoo of the 5-finger death punch.
So have you got it
skull.
online yet?
No.
See,
You
after I
will be
quit,
getting it online.
I do have a photo.
after
You
I
should put it online.
after I quit talent buying, I just stopped paying attention to anything they knew that was coming out musically. So, are they like a tough guy band?
Yeah.
They're like I'm hardcore.
They're like
and all
radio
that.
tough guy.
They beat
Oh,
They're like Chevelle tough.
oh Lord.
Yeah.
I
They're like
passed on
they're like
Chevelle
they're like
four
affliction
times.
tough. They're like
Yeah.
Yep. I grew up in the suburbs, tough.
Like Chevelle is like their booking agent's like, I'll give you, I will do it for 80% of the door on a Tuesday. I'm like, no, I won't do that.
All right, this guy missed it, and
If
And
that is the original art,
well,
yes.
obviously the angle isn't right and all that. I'm
But-
not trying to be too hard on the guy, but just
Why not?
as a comparison, let me slide this one over a bit.
What is that? Did he? Yeah.
It's supposed to be brass knuckles in the mouth of a skull with a painted red hand, blood hand on it.
Yeah,
But that, that's solid. Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, so those are listening and not and not watching. It is a really poor execution of this logo.
yeah, it's a skull with like the handprint on.
That's
it.
why I was like, it kind of looks like that because she did kind of more obscure, kind of weird things like that. That looks like the Punisher style.
Yeah, a
the
little
comic
bit.
book, full on comic book. And what is over there looks like a weird line drawing that somebody did
Yeah.
fucking fifth grade.
What is in the bottom left corner of the
He was going to
arm?
spider web it, but forgot how spider webs look.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
like this over here.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
happens to
don't know what
everybody.
that
Maybe it was a
though.
chain.
Sometimes
Maybe it was
I'm
going to
like,
be
Hey,
Tibetan. Sorry.
What?
please one at a time. No, seriously, Jesus.
Okay.
fuck.
Okay. So I was joking about this earlier. We need a talking stick. Anyway, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You go.
I was. It's fixable. It's definitely fixable. Partially because of the way it's done. It's done in that really hard, line style.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it pretty easy. The basic shapes there. The teeth look really bad, but they're not that bad. He just didn't put the teeth in. This is the top part of the teeth.
Yeah.
So he just didn't put the teeth in. And it's just kind of a crappy gray, so you could still slam that color, especially
Yeah.
like this brown and stuff.
Yeah.
This is all going to be black, so you could reshape the eye real easy.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a cover up, Jack?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Probably.
Just asked if it was a cover up.
Yeah, he had probably just a really poor tattoo done there at one time,
It
and
looks like he got just this poor tattoo.
but I would
Sorry.
without. It's hard. It's kind of at an angle, so it depends on how warped it is. I imagine it's pretty close to that, and you could fix it. But on the other hand, it's really scattered, and you could cover it real easy too.
Well, but what makes me wonder is there's another piece that's directly below it, which we don't
Yeah.
see.
It looks pretty decent. This one looks pretty.
But
okay.
it makes me wonder if he was trying to match it.
Match it how? Oh, like style wise.
Style wise.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Possibly the problem.
That could be, yeah.
Maybe.
It's like, well, that's kind of gray, and it's got kind of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a cover up. You can see these lines
Looking like a triple cover up.
under.
It's a triple.
here.
It happens.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah,
lasers
and then
belt sanders
there's lines that crisscross in and out of
Making
it.
better choices.
So yeah, they're definitely covering one thing with another thing, and
Go somewhere
that was destined to friggin' fail. But yeah, I'd cover that. I'd cover that up.
Yeah, I finally won one.
Yeah.
But you could easily reshape it because it's got black all around it, so you
Yeah,
could
you're
cover
right.
up and pull things out a lot easier. Because
So it really would come down. It would come down to what the client actually
asking
is
for,
willing to
looking
put up
for,
with.
yeah, and what they want to wear, So yeah, you would just have to talk to them, and if they're just over
What
it,
is
they're
that
like
noise?
Jack
It's-
drawing and moving on the leather
Oh,
couch.
okay.
it's the leather couch motion sound.
I was watching the pencil and I was like, wow, what is that? Like,
Anyway,
Yeah, I should. Yeah.
so the bigger question is, what do you think they were covering up?
just a shitty.
Well, yeah, skull.
It was probably
Kitchen
no-
tattoo.
Kitchen tattoo.
Yeah.
So
So
it's a
Kitchen
tattoo of a
not
kitchen.
this kitchen.
No, a real kitchen. Like
Yeah, I know
house.
what you're saying. Yeah, if you're ever at a party, boys and girls, or whoever you are, and somebody goes, "I'll give you a free tattoo," you should just avoid that.
you get what you pay for in those instances.
Yeah,
There are those
yeah,
times where you're that
yeah.
lucky 1,000th customer and you get away with something, but I wouldn't count on it.
Not very often.
You're
Yeah.
probably going to be sorely disappointed.
Womp womp.
So yeah, I vote cover up on that one. And cover up wise, you could do about anything as long as it's
Yeah.
relatively saturated and somewhat busy, because it's so just kind of birthmarky.
Yeah,
There's no real hard spots. It's
Yeah.
almost just kind of all the same.
Yeah, you can
Makes
cover
it,
it up.
in my opinion, a lot easier to cover it up if there's not a lot of hard shapes underneath that you have to kind of cut up and
Right.
get rid of.
Yep.
It's like the skull. There's really no shape to it. Nothing's colored in real black except for like that bottom little corner.
Yeah, where the brass knuckles are supposed to be.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be easy to cover with like another skull, which I know it kind of sounds silly, but I mean, this is a very specific skull.
yeah.
So you're going to know, again, where it's wrong and where it's not. But if
Right.
it's just a skull, there is no right and wrong
Right.
necessarily. So you could get away with a lot more dramatic, retool of things.
Yeah.
Well, it
and not
makes-
have to.
And
you know,
just the
stick.
color difference makes me wonder if this is another kitchen tattoo on top of a
Yeah,
kitchen
it definitely
tattoo.
is. It's not out of
Um,
the shop. There's no
no.
way this is out of a
That's
shop.
not a shop.
It
tattoo.
just
No, because it would have been too many.
But yeah,
Anyway.
that's that's not those style of tattoos are not easy. They have to be very precise.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not one for a
Because
beginner.
that yellow color, whatever the skull is, that I would assume is probably not easy to saturate onto the skin.
Depending on your skin tone and just
Yeah.
placement and stuff, yeah, it's tricky to get those really soft, smooth, solid, saturated colors like that
'Cause
because
it's
there's no
not
place to
really-
hide. There's no texture. The texture is there's no texture. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really yellow. It's kind of a, I don't know.
Mustard, ochre.
yeah, a little bit of it's ochre with some white in it.
Mhm.
That's how I'd probably get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool design and everything, and it looks freaking great because I've seen it done well. But
Well, if I can get the photo by the time I
yeah, hopefully we can throw that in there. And
Oh, the
show
one that
everybody.
Brent did.
Yeah, the black and gray one that Brent did with the red
I'll get
hair.
it to you.
So I think
Cool.
have we hit the 30-minute mark and you're tired of listening to us? Or
I'm hot. I'm sweaty. It's so hot in here, and it's so cold outside.
these lights.
I
We'll
just,
try to-
I'm
we'll
not
try to get
happy
some
no
more
matter what.
some listeners so they can stand here with a
See,
we can
it's
face
funny to
somebody.
me because it's really cold outside. So everybody's been complaining about how cold it is.
We had a heat
But when
wave
I
today.
shut my door
Got to 8.
in mine, it literally goes up to like 108.
You can come hang out in our
immediately.
room by the window. It's
Yeah,
cold.
exactly. And so now this is the first time these guys have had to deal with being in a locked room with the heat on when it's this cold outside. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked this or enjoyed this or found it useful, please give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you liked it because we'd like it when you like it. Sometimes even when you don't like it. We're a little bit on that side too. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every single time we post something. If you like merch, you like swag, you like t-shirts, you like phone cases, you like fanny packs, please check out our merch store. Lots of different designs, lots
They're
of
not
different things
listening,
to choose from. And even if you're not listening anymore, here's hoping all of your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we all hope to see you for your body piercing and tattooing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. Be well.
Be nice to each other, guys.
And stay
Bye.
warm.
Wash your hands.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.